Hi, my name is Harsh Vora, and today I'm going to discuss a little bit about India's food security bill. As most of you may know, March 3rd is the Hunger Banquet, and I believe it's very important for all people in developing countries as well as people in developed countries, to know the causes of hunger, the steps that government in developing countries and underdeveloped countries are taking to fight the problem of hunger, and why, despite all their efforts, they are still failing. So, in this video, I'll discuss the steps that government of India is taking recently to fight the hunger problem, and I'll be covering this topic in two parts. So, in this part, I'll be speaking about that, and in second part, I'll be speaking about the solutions that are better than the one that government has recently proposed to fight hunger. So, last year, India's Food Minister K.V. Thomas, he introduced the Food Security Bill, which has a singular objective of eradicating hunger and malnutrition within the shortest possible time in India. Now, to be specific, this bill aims at bringing food at subsidized prices, so very low prices, to poor people who have been identified as falling below poverty line. For example, the government will bring coarse grains per kg at rupees 1, which is approximately 2 cents, to poor people. It'll bring wheat per kg at rupees 2, which is approximately 4 cents, and rice per kg at rupees 3, which is approximately 6 cents. Now, this is very low price compared to the market price that is prevailing in India, which is about 15 rupees. Now, this all seems very easy. There are poor people in the country. They cannot get appropriate jobs, and because of that, they cannot earn and they cannot buy food at market prices. And again, inflation is very high in India as well. And so it's very easy to think that, okay, if they are suffering, let's just tax people, middle class people and higher income people, and then use the taxpayers' funds to provide subsidized prices to poor people and thereby eliminate hunger. But this is now not how it works. Like I'll explain in this vlog. My main contention is that, okay, so this bill, it aims at reaching approximately 64% of Indian population, and it will cost taxpayers about 110 billion rupees, which is approximately $2.2 billion. So taxpayers are contributing significant funds towards eradicating this problem. Now, since 1990, in 1990s, Indian government spent about 2% of the total government expenditure in providing food subsidies to the poor. Today, the government spends about 10% of the total government expenditure in providing food subsidies to the poor. So the total government expenditure spent in providing food subsidies has increased by about 8% in the last 20 years, let's say, right? This contribution, huge contribution, these taxes would have been justified had it shown progress in eliminating hunger, but that is not the case. Like, for example, Oxfam charity organization recently remarked that India's economy doubled in size in those past 20 years, 1990s to today, but the number of hungry people, they actually increased by 65 million. Global Hunger Index recently remarked that India ranked 67th among a list of 81 countries. So clearly, the facts show, they reveal that India's hunger problem persists despite all the government effort, despite billions and billions of rupees, dollars as well, spent in tackling the problem. Okay, so why does the system fail? Well, one of the reasons is the inherent system itself. The government uses a system called public distribution system, which is short form PDS. Now, under PDS, the government has established about 500,000 fair price shops. Now, these fair price shops are used to distribute food grains, subsidized food grains to the poor. If I'm a poor person, I approach one of these fair price shops and get grains at subsidized prices. But it usually doesn't work because it is highly corrupt and highly bureaucratic. What happens is, most of these fair price shops are shabbily maintained with food scattered all over the place. People entitled to receive grains, they usually receive less quantity of grains and higher prices than that guaranteed by the government. Why? Because most of the people that are poor, they are again illiterate, and they're misinformed. They do not know what their right is, and so it's very easy for the owners of fair price shops to fool them. Secondly, they don't even receive receipts for the grains that they buy, even though subsidized prices. And third, they have to stand in long lines just because there are so many people that are entitled to receive those food grains. And fourth, it is grossly ineffective. The government itself is grossly ineffective in identifying the poor people in the first place. There are many people who are above poverty line, who are comparatively richer, and they have the identity card for below poverty line. So they usually get grains that the poor people should get, and there are many poor people below poverty line who don't have identity cards. So these are the four problems I mentioned that causes the public distribution system to fail, and there is really no way to tackle, or there's really no alternative to public distribution system. That is the best way that the government can do, and it is failing. So the second reason why this system is destined to fail, the public distribution is destined to fail, is relating to the old maxim: give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. What the food security is doing or will do in future is that it will make a vast majority of the population dependent on short-term fixes at the cost of long-term economic crisis. So that's my take on food security bill. Let me know what you think. I invite you to comment on this video and think about this problem. What are some of the better solutions that could be a better alternative to the one that government has proposed?